Welcome back to Snack Chats with TLB. I'm Sarah, and today I'm here with Stefanie. Stefanie, we're so excited to get to know you. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role is at TLB Nutrition Therapy.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I'm so happy to be here. So I'm Stephanie. I'm a dietitian at TLB. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here and kind of chat about my role and what I love about this work.
Yes, awesome. What brought you to TLB? Can you give us a little backstory?
Totally. Yeah. So I was very interested in outpatient work. I think just the way that I get to structure my days really fits with my brain well. I really am a pretty extroverted person. I enjoy talking to people, and because so much of this work is just built on relationships and kind of providing that safe space for people to work through whatever they need to work through, I really just was drawn to that for that reason.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And how has it been so far? Have you enjoyed the outpatient setting and the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it so much. It's just it's really fulfilling, and even the moments that are challenging, I grow so much from. And another thing I really love about this work is that I feel like the growth is so it shows up so quickly in my work. Like if I have a challenging experience, getting to learn from that, it almost immediately benefits all of my other client relationships, and I think that's really cool. It's like an immediate turnaround of that growth. So, yeah, I've been loving it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so true. Well, and tell us a little bit about, the clients that you work with, if there's any specific populations or yeah, anything that you just really enjoy working with.
Totally. Yeah. So I think the biggest one for me, like probably my biggest passion area is just working with other queer folks. Obviously, I think most people know that that is a population that is pretty underserved, and so that's something I'm really passionate about. As far as kind of the medical nutrition therapy piece of it, I work with clients with all sorts of chronic health conditions, and I'm honestly still figuring out what I really enjoy in that area. Just chronic conditions in general, I think I really enjoy supporting someone through managing, but as far as the specifics of that, I'm kind of still just feeling out what really feels right for me.
Yeah, definitely. And are there any like particular kind of like topics within nutrition or client work or anything like that that you feel really passionate about? And it sounds like you did touch on a little bit of that, but if there's anything you want to elaborate on.
Yeah, man, it's hard to answer that question, but I think the biggest one for me is probably body image struggles. I think that that's something that in the more maybe let's say traditional nutrition space gets kind of left out of the conversation, but in reality and in practice maybe, right? I do see that, you know, and especially society kind of pushes that upon us, this narrative of like, our food and our body image are so intertwined, and that can get really twisted and distorted. And I think it's sort of impossible to do nutrition work without doing body image work. And there's so much emotional and mental wellness tied up in that too. Just that's something I'm super passionate about, and I love deep diving into that with my clients for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's so needed. And I agree with you. I think a lot of times that can kind of get overlooked in like traditional, maybe nutrition conversations. And yet it is so intertwined. So I think that's amazing that that's really such a passion area for you and you're able to support clients with all of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. What drew you to this kind of work originally, would you say? And I feel like that could go two different directions, like whether that be the outpatient setting or also kind of like TLB's mission and philosophy with providing, inclusive care and being weight neutral and food neutral and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think it's kind of both. I really like the foundation of it for me is just the relationship piece. I really love that my job every day is to really build relationships with people, right? Because I am a nutrition professional, and of course in sessions there are times where we're talking about food and we're doing meal planning and stuff, but so much of it is that therapeutic relationship. And I mentioned earlier just that safety and consistency for people can be so healing. And so that's definitely the foundation. And then, yeah, TLB's philosophy specifically, I think that, um, gosh, we could spend an hour just talking about, how much harm has been done in the nutrition space, towards pretty much I would say most demographics of people besides white people. There's been so much harm done, and that's not to even mention, weight stigma and all of these things that are so, again, intertwined with nutrition and food and the way that we think about it. And so I love that TLB is so forward with just, yeah, wanting to kind of change things a little bit, right? Heal some of that harm that's been done. And it makes me feel like it makes me feel like I can be as, kind of like just social justice oriented as I want to be. Like I don't have to, I I definitely have had some other dietitian jobs where sort of like these unfortunately these themes of like systemic racism and weight bias and all of these things were very like weaved into the job itself. And there were definitely times where I would be working with patients and I felt like, I couldn't really talk about these bigger topics that really impact the individual. And at TLB, I definitely don't feel that way at all. I love that I can just talk really openly with clients about these things, all of these like bigger social factors that really, really impact our individual behaviors. And not only can I talk openly about that, it's encouraged and it's a really important part of this work. So I'm super grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I always tell clients it's never really about the food itself, right? It's these
Yeah.
deeper, wider conversations that need to be had to understand like why we have the relationships with food that we have and all of that because everyone's experience is going to be so different. Everyone's relationship with food and their body and movement, all of those things is going to be so different based on lived experience.
Totally, yeah. And I mean, to even further that, I think, I mentioned sort of these like social pressures earlier, and I know I'm throwing a lot of like buzzwords out there, but I mean, really, I think that individually, especially in America, we take on so much like shame and responsibility for a lot of things that are oftentimes really outside of our control. When we talk about like access and stress management and all of these things that really significantly impact our food relationships. And some of those things we really can't control and we shouldn't take the shame and blame on for that. And so I love, yeah, just exploring those things with clients and kind of figuring out, how we can work through those things, but not like carrying the heavy weight of feeling like those things are our fault.
Yep. Totally. Well, it sounds like you do such an amazing job of just creating a safe space for clients to have these bigger conversations and to acknowledge like these systems that are in place that are impacting all the above, our health, behaviors, and everything.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I hope that's true. I really hope that's true. It might sound a little silly, but I honestly I love getting kind of worked up with clients. Like when we have these conversations, it's like, okay, instead of being constantly angry with yourself, constantly feeling like you're failing, let's get frustrated with these systems that are keeping us in this place where we feel like we're constantly floundering. And even just being able to shift some of that energy can be so freeing. So I really love exploring that with clients.
Yes. Oh, I can tell you're so passionate about it. So I love hearing you talk about it. And yeah, for anyone who is interested in doing that deep dive, this is so great to hear and to kind of see how you approach that. So love
Yeah,
it.
thank you. And I will say too, not everyone is ready to do that deeper work. And I'm sure that's probably come up in some of these other chit chats, but I'm very much a believer of like just walking with the client in whatever space they're in. So I was really excited about this because I do want people to know that this kind of deeper work and tying in with like emotional work and ideally someone's also working with a therapist doing that kind of stuff and body image and all of these like social factors and conversations. I love doing that stuff and not everyone's ready for that and that's okay too. So it's nothing that I'm ever like forcing down anyone's throat, but just know if you are going to work with me, it's always on the table for us to be able to talk about.
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like we could talk about this all day long, but I do want to shift a little bit. And I want to know about what you enjoy about being part of the TLB team and what that's been like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really wonderful. I think I'm one of the newer members of the TLB team, and just since I joined pretty much immediately, I felt very welcome. I loved going to like team socials and just meeting everyone, and I think there's this really like I guess I would say that the culture and like the things that we are passionate about as a practice, like weight inclusive, weight neutral, food neutral care, and some of these other like again social justice oriented things I mentioned, I really feel like that does actually it is actually the culture of TLB. Like I, just again coming in as a queer person, you never know. You never know. And I just felt so immediately welcomed. And I really got this feeling of like I could just be whoever I want to be. And I mean, I feel so proud of that because it helps me be better at my job doing this work. But it's also just like for me as a human being, it's really nice to work in a place where I feel like I can just be whoever I want to be. And I feel like respected and honored. So I'm grateful for that, honestly, every day and love it so much.
My gosh, no, that's incredible. And yeah, I'm so glad that you felt so welcomed and so just true to you coming into this team and feeling so accepted because yeah, I agree that that has always felt like the core of the practice is just like come as you are and we're here for you and with you and learning alongside of you and supporting you and all of that for every single dietitian here.
Yeah, it's lovely, honestly. And I'm excited to see the practice grow too. I mean, I think that again, having that culture is just really opens the door for us to just bring on like whoever is a good fit and is gonna, maybe fill like a client niche that we don't already have filled. And that's like really exciting too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know you mentioned kind of being newer, but how do you feel like your work has already kind of like shifted and grown? Like, how have you grown as a provider, doing the outpatient work and again, like kind of aligning with the TLB mission and philosophy within your work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that probably the biggest thing is I've just I mean, I don't want to like I don't want to shit on our field necessarily, but there's like problems. There's problems within nutrition. There's problems within dietetics. Like there is unfortunately still a lot of weight stigma and just a lot of rhetoric around like shame and blame and moralization of foods and lots of stuff like that. And I think that throughout my journey as a dietitian, I kept bumping up against that and just knowing that it just didn't sit right with me. It wasn't something that I really wanted to push upon patients or clients. And so being in this niche that I'm in, not only outpatient, but this, practice where
Mm,
we are weight neutral and food neutral and knowing that that's evidence-based, right? But it's just not something that the whole field I think has taken on. That is something I already came in feeling and really being passionate about. But now that I'm in a place where I can actually practice that and see that this works for clients, right? Like weight neutral, food neutral approaches, individualized care, it works. It helps people feel less shame. It helps people stop feeling like something is wrong with them. And it just brings so much peace to people. And that's not something that is really talked about in the greater scope of our field. And so I just feel even more solid in that. Like now that I'm getting to practice it and really see it working in client work every day, it's just like I feel like I'm just shouting from the rooftops because I
yes.
see it working.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we have a similar background just in coming from like more of that like not weight neutral approach early in our careers. And I think, yeah, being able to transition and just feel fully aligned with our work is, I feel like we probably have that in common where it's like, it just feels so good. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a breath of fresh air. You can like relax your shoulders. You're like, I'm not making these recommendations I don't even agree with anymore.
And that don't work, right? That's the other thing is these things don't work. And yes, that alignment, I think is a great word for that. Yes, absolutely. And it's so much more human, right? That's the other thing is like when we take away like expectations and, like social standards and all of the again, these like I keep saying, but these things that just get pressed upon us, then we can just take things from a very human, like individualized approach. And I I feel as though that's always going to be the best way to help someone. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, tell us what you think you would be doing if you weren't a dietitian.
Well, I think about this a lot. My friends and I talk about this sometimes because I'm a very like analytical person. I really like numbers. I love spreadsheets. I have like personal spreadsheets I just make for myself for fun because I'm crazy. So I definitely think if I was not a dietitian, I would be something totally different. Like I'd be like an accountant or like, something very just like putting my numbers in my spreadsheet.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Please make me G and organize my life.
I mean, I would love to.
My gosh. And then one final question. I just want to learn a little bit about you outside of work. What do you enjoy doing? Any hobbies? Yeah, anything you want to share with everybody?
Totally. Yeah, I'm a very community oriented person. I think that for me that extends really, really far into kind of all areas of my life. So honestly, one of my biggest hobbies is just spending time with my friends. I feel very grateful to have a lot of like intimate, safe friendships in my life that I pour energy into. And I love just spending time with my friends and doing fun stuff with them. I like dancing. I ride bikes, like bicycles, hang out with my cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I like living in Austin. I think there's a really amazing like food and like drink scene here, honestly. Like I love like wine and cocktails and stuff. So just going out and like exploring the city and trying new foods and drinks and stuff is fun as well.
Yes. Oh, so fun. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. It was so nice to get to chat with you, learn more about you myself, and then, yeah, everybody else watching getting to learn a little bit about you. So, thank
Yeah.
you everyone for tuning in. And as
Thank
always,
you.
comment below, questions, comments, anything, share this video, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Bye, y'all.